Season 2 Charmy is an amazing healer, but with this guide, you can make your team immortal. So I'm actually going to start things off first this time with a kit overview, as I think it's the most important thing to do. So starting off with her skill 1, and this is just going to be a single target damaging skill, and the damage ratios for this is 65% of her attack and magic attack. And then what she then does is she grants any of your allies with the lowest HP a continuous HP recovery buff, which is going to be equal to 6% of Charmy's maximum health for 2 turns. And then she will then also have a 45% chance to grant a recovered ally a special point +1 buff. Her skill 2 Shaved Ice is just an AoE healing skill, and just like her skill 1, it's going to grant all allies continuous HP recovery equal to 4.5% of her own max HP, and then it will then go ahead and remove 1 instance of continuous damage from all allies. And then finally, her special skill Barbecue Party is a fantastic ultimate, as it will grant all allies continuous HP recovery equal to 10% of her own max HP for 2 turns, whilst granting all your allies an increased defense buff of level 3, so it's 175% defense increase. And then we'll then also have a 45% chance to grant all allies a special point +1 buff, which is really good. Then onto her passive. So unique passive is just a 10% increased max HP buff, and then her enhanced passive is basically whenever an ally's turn ends, you'll then grant 3% of max HP as recovery to the ally with the lowest HP ratio, and this is honestly so good. So now on to gears, and the reason why I wanted to do her kit overview first was because of all of her HP and healing scales off of her max HP. So I just wanted to get that out of the way first, so then people can actually understand why I'm picking these certain gears for her. So starting off, we have the Ice Mansion's Remains, and this gear set is going to be fantastic, as on the 2-set bonus, it will give you a 7% increase in max HP, and this will then also allow her to do even more healing, as once again, like I said before, her healing scales off of her max HP. And for the pieces that you're going to want to be using for this gear set are going to be the Ice Crystal, as it'll give you a flat max HP increase, and then we'll be going for the Ice Mirror, as there's literally no other gear pieces that you can use in order to make all of the gears fit perfectly. Next up is the Great Merchant's Collection, as in order for her to have some more survivability so she can do a little bit more healing, we're going to want that extra 30% defense increase. So we're going to be using the Seed from a Village as well as the Perfume from a Village, so then we can get that 2-set bonus of 30% defense increase. And then we'll also be using the 2x2 piece, so we can actually fit all of the gear pieces in the whole grid, so then we can actually get our set bonuses. And then finally, you're going to be wanting the Secret of the Deep Sea set, as well. This is mainly especially for PvP, as you can get that 5% extra speed buff, so then you can do even more healing over the course of your next 2 turns. And then we'll be using the Deep Sea Pearl for once again the extra HP, so we can heal even more. And then also the Essence of the Deep Sea is fantastic as well, so then we can get that 2-set bonus whilst not taking up as much space in the grid as possible. So in terms of the main stats, you'll always be picking the ones that will have the HP main stats, but in terms of the 2x2 smaller pieces of gear, you're going to want to go for Magic Attack main stat, because she's just got more of that, so you can get more damage bonuses from her skill 1. And then in terms of substats, you really just want anything that can help her survive and also give her more max HP, as her job is to only heal and not to do damage, so you don't necessarily need things like Magic Attack and Attack, as her healing scales off of her max HP. So next up, we have all of her talents, and hers are actually quite a lot different to any other character in the game normally. As starting off with her attack talents, as literally all of these are kind of useless, as she doesn't really do any damage and she's just there to heal and keep your teammates alive. So there's really the only things you can go for are the increased magic attack buff, as well as the battle frenzy buff, as you might as well get some extra crit rate, so when you do actually use your skill 1 to do a bit of healing, you can also do a bit of extra damage, I guess, which is always nice, so you might as well use it, which is also why you're going to go for the increased magic attack buff as well. So for defense talents, hers are actually somewhat different in terms of from all of the other characters that I've done guides for, as you actually really want her increased max HP defense talent, as although the increased defense talent is always really good, you're going to want that extra max HP, so your continuous healing can do as much healing as it possibly can, and plus it's still giving you some survivability at the end of the day. And then the endurance one is fantastic, as the extra, because it is still giving you extra defense and crit resistance, which is always really good. And finally, for support talents, it's honestly, you can do an amalgamation of literally anything, as the swiftness one is fantastic, especially when combined with the increased damage resistance or even the increased HP recovery received, because then it's going to allow Charmy to survive even better because she's healing herself even more. Or even the Mage's Blessing is also great, as you'll have a 20% chance to grant a reduced skill 2 cooldown reduction by 1 turn, which is again really good, because then you can reduce that cooldown from 2 turns to 1 turn, so you can get it really quickly. But it is only a 20% chance, so I would probably recommend going for swiftness alongside the increased HP recovery received, as it's going to help her survive as well. So for carve stones, again, for the attack ones, it really doesn't matter, just take the one with attack and magic attack, it's completely fine. The defense one, you're going to want the flat defense, because it's going to give you the most survivability and also the most CC as well, I believe. And then for the support stones, it's either between HP or speed, depending on which one you'd prefer the most. Honestly, you can try both, that they'll probably both be really good, although I'd probably say speed is still it's probably a lot better, because I feel like you'll gain a lot more value from that extra speed, like 1 to 2 speed that you can get, whereas I feel like the HP increase might not be big enough for it to matter so much, but it still would be completely fine. So then next up is skill pages, and she's got a lot of really good ones. And we're going to start off with Adventurer's Journal, as this is going to be her best in slot skill page, as all it does is just give you a 10% max HP increase, which means you're going to be healing for an absolute ton. And then considering these skill pages are technically free to play, you can get it to level 6, which will then give you a 20% max HP increase. And then we have our actual signature skill page. This is actually really good, although it doesn't give her any HP increases. But honestly, my favorite thing about all of this is that it will give all of your allies an increased crit resistance level 3 buff, so it's going to stop a lot of DPS characters from critting your characters, which is always really good, especially when facing off against red characters, because red characters will have less crit rate against your blue characters, because that's how the typing difference works. And then the passive skill, A Feast at the Beach, is going to be relatively decent. It's okay, it's nothing too crazy, as it will grant a 10% reduced damage taken if your HP is equal to 90% or higher. And then I guess sort of a slightly worse version than the Adventurer's Journal is going to be Meat Enthusiast, as this is going to be just a flat 7% max HP increase and will be actually easier to dupe out, as you can get it all the way up to a 15% increase in max HP, which is going to be really good, and it's probably going to be what a lot of you are going to use, as this is probably the most accessible skill page that you can probably have. And then the final skill page I'm going to recommend is going to be Breath of Wind, as this will grant you status ailment immunity for 1 turn at the start of a wave, and then it will grant you 7% of your max HP as HP recovery whenever you've been afflicted with a status ailment. So then up next we have all of her best teams. So honestly, because she's a healer, she can technically be thrown into literally any team that's in the game, because any team can use a healer unless if that team is very specific in which characters that they need. But I don't think there's really any teams that do work like that. But of course, she's going to be a fantastic pair with Noelle Silver, as if you are running Charmy's skill page, then Noelle's barrier or skill 2 is going to give you so much survivability, as it will help you keep that 10% damage reduction when you're over 90% of your HP for a very long amount of time. And being able to increase your whole team's survivability is just going to make your team honestly quite toxic and very hard to kill. And then another fantastic pairing is going to be Rades Spirito. You could honestly run Rades, Noelle, and Charmy all together, as also Rades is going to give you status ailment immunity, so you'll be immune to stuns and stuff like that, which is unbelievably powerful, as well as making your team a lot tankier with his own barrier, whilst also being able to increase your whole team's defense as well, which is going to be ridiculous. And then at this point, you can literally throw in anybody you want. Like the brand new Season 2 Ghost is a fantastic character for you to run, as he will also give damage reductions as well. Or you could run Sally as well, as she is a great damage buffer as well. And then someone like Valtos is also fantastic, as he can help with your mobility and movement of all of your characters. So then finally we have her skill level priorities. So to start things off, I think her Shaved Ice as well as her Barbecue Pie are going to be, again, really fantastic things. Probably her Barbecue Pie is the one that you're going to want to do first, as you can then double the amount of healing that you can do, as it'll go from 10% of her max HP all the way to 20% of her max HP once at level 5. And then the same is going to go for her Shaved Ice, as this is going to be complete AoE continuous HP recovery as well. And then it's probably going to be her skill 1, as her main job is literally just to heal, so you're going to want to heal as much as you possibly can, which is why you go from special skill to skill 2 to then skill 1. So there you have it. That is a complete guide to Charmy. She's a fantastic character in this season, definitely one of the best healers around. But if you did enjoy this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below whether this helped you or not, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.